What would they do if somebody
Nope.
did?
If you got,
But nice try.
bit, if these spiders decided to bite you right now, you would swell up pretty much.
You had to ask the question.
That was better.
Not a way to increase your
I had one lady
presence.
say,
Yeah.
fight.
You got to take them off yourself, you know.
Yeah, don't take pictures while I'm here.
Oh, brave.
Who wants to pet?
And if she gets bitten,
Hey guys, look at me. Oh, look at that spider.
This is the old skate from the last time we shed, so you can see how big he was.
Oh, wow.
Sit down, I'll hold it
Come on,
up.
guys, sit, please.
You gotta stay seated, okay?
Holy Moses.
Now, normally I bring him, but he's shedding his skin, and it's really, you know.
Uh-oh.
You have to be quiet, because the animals in those cages with the leopard skins on them there are mammals, and they got really sensitive ears, more sensitive than us. So if you're talking really loud, it's going to scare them, and we don't want to get them scared. So, but this is the scorpion, the emperor scorpion from Africa. And this scorpion here can grow up to be pretty big. He's pretty big already. But you know what's really cool about scorpions?
It's in your hand, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one here too is the gentlest of all the scorpions. And not all scorpions are like this. And not all spiders are gentle either. So you got to know what you're doing and know how to handle them before you touch them. This scorpion here and all scorpions have something very, very cool. Black light like this. Now look at your clothes.
Cool.
Look at this sign here.
Look at the sign. Wow.
You have white on your glowing, like, look at candles.
look at mine.
Chloe.
Oh, that's how you
Look at
find.
Jacqueline. She's all glowing. Oh, look at Thomas's Canada. Let me see
Where's
Thomas.
Canada?
Look at his Canada. Like it's
Oh,
really
that's
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Oh, Grayson. Grayson,
Hard to
look
pick
at
that up.
mine.
Okay, you know what?
Ready, guys?
Let's see. Somebody with white shirt and dark pants. You
Oh,
come
that
on
would
up
be
here.
Chloe.
Chloe.
Oh, don't move.
Okay, I just want to show you something. The shirt really glows in the dark. Now smile really good at everybody. And the pants. Look at the socks. Do the pants glow in the dark though?
No.
Because they're really dark.
He was glowing
So,
when the
yeah.
hair.
But this guy's really black too, so he can glow in the dark as well. Watch.
Oh,
Wow. He's green.
That is cool.
How come her pants don't turn green? Look at what do you got in your hand there? Oh, that's a little dark.
Orange.
Yeah. Anyways, this guy glows pretty good too, eh?
He's like green.
Good.
And this is how we find scorpions. At nighttime, we go out with a light like this, and we just shine it on the ground, and we see if there's a scorpion around. Okay, we can get our lights back on again. But as they get bigger, they can't breathe underwater anymore.
Oh,
Oh, what's this? Oh.
This is called the Argentine horned frog. He's also known as the Pac-Man frog because he's so round and chubby. And he's got a big mouth. And inside that big mouth, he's got long, sharp teeth.
oh.
Another one that we have at Cinema Zoo, a little bit bigger than this one, bit me one day and actually made my finger bleed where he bit me because those teeth are really sharp. He's also got a very, very, very sticky tongue. And he uses it to hold on to it, whatever he grabs to eat. But you know what this guy's biggest problem is? He's greedy. He thinks he can eat anything that moves. And more of these frogs die by choking to death because they usually grab something too big to swallow. One day I was walking by his cage and I guess he was really hungry and I was moving, so he must have thought I was food because he jumped out to attack me. But you know what he forgot? He was still in the cage. And he hit the glass with his mouth wide open, and that tongue stuck to the glass, and there he hung by his tongue looking really dumb. Okay, our next one is called... Come on, Beatty. Let's go. All right. Now we're going to look at reptiles. And our first reptile
I hope it's not.
It's called the turtle when you die because it's going to outlive you. This turtle can live 150 years. Now, and you know what it can do that none of you kids could ever do? No kid in Coquitlam could ever do. Sit in one spot without moving.
I can do that.
For a whole year. That would be kind of boring, wouldn't it? And you know what? These guys hunt by opening up their mouth, and they got a little piece of worm, like skin, that looks like a worm on the bottom of their mouth. And when fish come by, they wiggle it around. And the fish see it, and they think, hey, check out the worm. And they swim right into the turtle's mouth, thinking they're going to get lunch. Instead, they become lunch, because the turtle just shuts his mouth, and that's the end of the fish. There's the alligator snapping turtles. And if I can get him to open his mouth, come on, smile. Smile. Bigger. Okay. You might be able to see that little worm in there.
Yeah, I see it. It's red. It's red. It's moving. The turtle looks chubby now. That thing was
But you know what? I have another turtle, the same kind as this one here at the zoo. I can't bring it because he's 92 years old already, and his shell's about that big around. His head's about the same size as this whole turtle.
Oh my God.
And he eats a lot. He eats like in one meal he'll eat about 14 chicken legs and maybe a drumstick of a turkey leg or something like that. Okay, now we have another two turtles here. These are called the box turtles. These turtles here are turtles that live on land. This one's got a plain shell, and this one's got a really fancy shell with lots of marks on it and everything like that. But these turtles here live on land. They don't live in the water at all. And this one here, I think we're going to need some feed. Hey, paper towel.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Thanks. But this turtle here, you want to flip this paper over?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes they have accidents. But this turtle here, for example, is a turtle that has enemies, and his enemies are like storks and herons and big birds like that. And when they fly overhead, this is all they see. It looks just like a rock. And you know what? When they come down to the ground, though, the bird comes down to the ground, and he says, wait a minute, you're not a rock, you're a turtle, and I can kill you and eat you. And what do turtles do to protect themselves?
Clothes.
They go in their shell? Yeah, because you saw it before? Okay, well, they go in their shells, first of all. But the bird says, you know what? Thank you. The bird says, that's okay, I got a big beak and I can poke it in there and still get you. And the turtle says, well, you can try, but I'll just, like he said, close the door. He shuts the door so the bird can't get in. And the bird says, well, I'll go in the back door, it's wide open. He says, no, you won't, because I'll close that one. And he said, well, your front door's open again, so I'll come around there. He closes the front door, the back door pops open again. Okay, so now we're going to look at a guy who was on a telesat, and you might have seen him holding on to a cheetah's tail. He's called the tortoise. Now this tortoise is called the African spur-thighed tortoise, and it will grow big enough for you guys to ride on. But if you're looking for speed, this isn't it. These guys are so slow that it would take all day to get just to the other end of the house. So, and that's at warp speed. So these guys are a lot different than turtles because their feet are different, their heads are different, and their shells are different. So that's the differences between a turtle and a tortoise. Now we're going to look at a lizard.
Oh, the lizards are my favorite. Lizards are my favorite.
Really big.
Yeah?
This is called the bearded dragon. And bearded dragons are from Australia. And these ones here are really friendly, but you know what? They need a lot of work still. This one was bought for a little boy in Vancouver, and that's what he wanted for his birthday. And his parents got it for him, and he was thrilled with it. And he went to the library and read every book he could find on how to care for bearded dragons. And he came home and he named it Pyro. And everything went well for Pyro. He was fat and happy and healthy. And about a year later, things changed for the little boy. He got busy. And he really didn't have much time for Pyro anymore. He was in scouts and he was in the soccer leagues and kids clubs, and he had chores and homework and friends to play with. And he started feeling a little bit guilty about leaving Pyro alone all the time. So he said to his mom, he said, "Do you think we could go to the pet store and get a friend for Pyro?" Mom says, "That's a good idea." So off to the pet store they went. And they found a lizard about the same color, about the same size, and it was friendly with the little boy. And he thought, this is going to make a good friend for Pyro. They brought it home, put it into the tank, and you know what happened?
Lunch.
It attacked Pyro. It just about killed Pyro, and it was going to kill him and eat him. But the boy managed to get them separated and save Pyro's life. And he had to take that lizard back to the pet store, and he had to take Pyro to the veterinarian, and if I can show you here on this. You can see on his back foot here that he's missing 3 of his toes because the other mean lizard bit them off. And so the boy felt really bad now. He says, well, first I let him, I ignore him for a long time, and then I try to help him and I end up getting him hurt. So the boy phoned up Cinema Zoo and said, can we donate Pyro to Cinema Zoo? Because that's what you guys do. You take care of animals for a living. So, and most of the animals I have, it comes from Mexico. And it's called the Mexican black king snake. And this snake, you know what it eats in the wild? Other snakes. And you know what its favorite snake to eat is? Rattlesnake. It can kill and eat a rattlesnake as big as himself, or even bigger than himself. But isn't this really shiny, almost like patent leather?
He's a boy.
And this is a snake now. He's a really friendly snake, and just, Tyler, do you want to come up and hold him? Yeah?
Kyler.
Are you going to do it, Kai? Yay! Are you got it on video, Uncle Dan?
This is a friendly snake, Tyler.
Oh, Tyler.
Just hold him up by the bit.
Oh, Darren, you're missing it.
What does he feel like, Tyler?
Doing the barbecue.
Good to be here.
Kyler.
Wow. Wait, his dad's coming.
Get it from
With the video camera.
His uncle's already got the video camera.
Just put it around your neck.
Are you
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying the video.
What about that?
Kyler. Kyler, look at you.
Put your hand on here and hold it. Put it underneath. That a boy. Now you're being a real snake hand.
Oh, fire.
Wow, Tyler.
Look up, Kai.
Yeah, I'm working.
Look, Dad, bring it up. Look at your son.
That snake! Look at Forrest!
Snake. And this one here was born without his color. He was supposed to be black and yellow. And now he doesn't have his color, which means he's not going to live very long in the wild. Because he's a pet and we keep him inside, he'll live for a long time. But if he was outside, he would die really soon, because you know who his enemy would be? The sun. Without the color in his skin, the sun would burn his skin. He's called an albino. And he has no color in his eyes either. And yeah, his... Ooh, that took a... And, yeah, he's got red in his eyes. Did you see the red? Yeah. But that's not the color of the eyes. You know what that is? That's the blood that's behind the eyes, because you can see right through the eyes to where the blood is. So this snake would go blind in the wild. Now we got another snake called a striped king snake, but this one is very, very rare. I bought this one, where was it? In Indianapolis, at a big reptile show, and when I saw him, I knew I had to have him because he was different.
I gotta do that.
This is called the Lion King snake. He looks like the line on a highway. But what makes him so unusual is that this snake here was born with a happy face on his head. He makes everybody smile.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that is so funny.
Some chuckles.
Are you a happy snake?
Gracie, look, Grace.
I think I saw that snake before. Me too. No pushing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Tyler, you did so well with that one snake. Do you want to come up and try again? No? Okay.
He's thinking about it now.
How about one of your buddies?
Registering.
All right.
I just know it's
Come on.
That's okay. I'll show you these snakes myself.
Maybe Alexa wants to go out.
I know Shaquille does.
Yeah,
She's dying.
Alexa's feeling lucky.
Who's
He won
that?
a bike yesterday.
Shaquille, go try it.
Shaquille, you wanna go?
Shaquille, you go in
Look
there.
at
He's
him.
so
That's a boy.
excited.
Here, let me hold
Boy, Shaquille.
You like snakes, Shaquille? Yeah?
No, he's three.
Cool.
Or,
Okay, well, what we want you to do is we want you to stand here and face everybody so they can get some pictures of you. And put your hands up like this. Attaboy.
oh, are you okay?
And the jungle's falling down?
Yeah.
That's the rainforest for you. Okay, these are called, do you like corn? Yeah, well these are corn snakes, so don't eat them, okay? We couldn't decide which one to bring, so we rather.
Whoa, fear
Smile at
factor.
the end. There Shaquille.
Woo.
He likes it.
There you go. Now the dark one here is the regular color. The red ones are the red albinos, and the white one here is called a snow corn snake. And you know what? It was a daddy last year, so now we call it a. You ready? A popcorn snake. That's snake humor.
Popcorn. Wouldn't focus.
And it only gets worse from here. Our next snake is a snake, and this snake here is a snake that's kind of pretty. Milk snake. And you can't put milk snakes on corn snakes because it doesn't work. But anyways, these guys here are harmless. You could accidentally step on him and he probably still wouldn't bite you. So what happens is that nature gave them these bright colors, red and yellows, as warning colors for other animals to stay away, because those colors mean something's poisonous or something tastes bad. And here's another snake that looks really similar to this one here. It's called a coral snake. This one's one of the deadliest snakes in North America. And it looks the same. So you know, somebody know the poem? Who knows it?
What was
She
that?
knows. She watches Nature Channel. Red and
Tell,
black.
tell everybody the
I can't
poem.
remember because there's two ways of doing it. So I
Well, yeah, there is. If red is next to black, you're okay, Jack. If red is next to yellow, you're a dead fellow. And see, that's what happens. You hear the poem, then you're on the trail, and you're going, oh, what was that poem again?
As you're falling down. I remember now.
Careful smile.
Okay. Yep.
At school we have, at my school, there's cards exactly like that with all different reptiles
Is
and
that right?
pictures.
Well, this next snake we have is a snake that
Requires one big tub. I'll be flipping hot dogs upstairs.
Oh.
Coming in style this one.
No, I'll just so back a little bit.
Did you guys do an inventory check before you leave?
He wasn't here.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks.
You can't find him?
I said move back. He'll show it to you.
This is called the boa constrictor.
Having nightmares.
Oh, so you don't see it like that because it's on the roast
Oh,
of characters.
he is
Too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
You know,
you
they're
want
scared
to
of things
watch
that are
it?
chemicals.
Squeezing so hard.
Why is he like
This snake here is powerful. I mean, my hand is going numb really quick. And these are called the boa constrictors.
It's too big.
And they can get really pretty big, but not as big as pythons. But
I
they're
see.
more powerful than pythons as far as their constricting goes. And I'm telling you, this is like a really good grip he's got. And
What does he weigh?
Call 911.
this one weighs about probably pretty well close to 90 pounds, believe it or not. They're solid muscle, so they're a lot heavier than they look.
Gary.
Whatever it wants.
Gary, what does he eat?
This one here eats chickens and rats and rabbits and kids.
You in a minute?
Mustaches.
Yeah.
Birthday boy.
Yeah, particularly
But,
for his birthday cake.
This snake is the boa constrictor.
Wow.
Whoa, Mom.
Whoa.
He doesn't want to go back. He would eat you up from it in probably 1 minute.
Whoa, Kyler.
That was so good.
Hey,
Why do you keep them blankets to keep warm? Is that the reason?
you keep them warm and keep them from escaping.
You called Dr.
And you know what? I've had,
What's his new short?
Gary.
I remember one time I had a python in my car. I was driving down the street and I had to take my foot off the gas pedal to put it on the brake, and I couldn't lift my foot up, and I looked down and there was this python right across my foot. I didn't even feel it go across there. Now we're going to show you, to give you an idea how big some snakes can get. We have here a skin of a python. And what we're going to do is, I think what we'll do is we're going to get everybody involved in this.
I've articulated
On the show that there was a snake, I don't know what it's called, but it's to that wall, to that wall, it was like deep.
Okay, well, you're going to come here on the other side of the balloon. You can go on the other side of the balloon, right there.
Well, you
And you can stand here, sir.
Yeah.
Stand there.
Is your big?
Go ahead, Dick.
You can stand right there. You can stay there, sir.
Yeah, Darren, you can stay
We
right
may
there.
need a few more out there, but that's okay.
Oh, might it be longer than that?
It's only the skin.
It's only the skin.
Now, everybody hold your hands like this. Okay? And you're just going to hold the top of the snake skin, because this is a skin that came from a snake in Africa, and the snake died, and so they took the skin off it, and it just feels just like leather now. And that's the way the skin is when they fix it. So
What? Yeah.
just grab the top.
No, Granddad, put yourself. Wow.
Look at how long that is.
Got the tail.
So that is one snake. And that snake, when it was alive, was probably about 14 years old
Kyler.
and weighed about 375 pounds and could swallow 1 or 2 of you kids in one meal, if it was alive.
A million.
A million. We got a million over there. Wow.
1,000.
1,000. 1,000. Okay, I think. Last guess.
I didn't even know what
5,000. Okay. Well, we're guessing how many rats would be on Earth from 2 rats in 3 years, if they were the only 2 rats on Earth.
We can ask the mayor, he probably knows the answer.
I bet he doesn't. But I'll tell you right now, 30 billion.
Wow.
30 billion?
30 billion, right. So, you know, they're pretty prolific, that's for sure. Okay, now the first rat and mouse we have, you have to be quiet with these ones, because these are the mammals, and they're a little more nervous, okay? And if they don't bite, they'll do something else. I don't want them to either. Okay, this rat and this mouse do not exist in the wild. They are ones that were raised in laboratories. We call the rat Dr. Evil. We call the mouse Mini-Me. Here's Dr. Evil for those. You adults know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And these are called the double-eared hairless rat and double-eared hairless mouse. That's the way they're born. With no fur.
Dr. Evil is the small one?
No,
Oh, that's
he's the big
Mini-Me.
one.
Oh, okay.
Mini-Me.
Yeah.
but it's from the Austin Power Show. And you know what? We brought Austin Power with us too. Okay, here's Austin Power. Here he is.
Oh, look at that.
He's missing an eye. Oh, I got the wrong end, sorry. Okay.
That's a guy in the commercial, the blockbuster.
Oh, yeah,
This
that's
is the
right.
guinea pig. This is the proving guinea pig. His fur will grow an inch every month until it's about half a meter long.
Oh my goodness.
And half a meter, you know, this way and half a meter that way, that's a lot of hair. And for you girls, it's a great pet because you can practice all your hairdos.
Ay, ay, ay. You could probably pull that window.
Close the window.
Close up. Okay, now,
Oh, sorry.
the next animal we have is really furry. Really furry. Hunted for his fur. And these ones come from South America, and they're so cute. Why would anybody want to kill one? But, oh well.
Oh, well.
But that's what it is. Oh, I thought it's
Chinchilla.
Very nervous. This is called the chinchilla. Now, do you want to hold this?
Kyler?
Tyler. Tyler.
Tyler Christian.
You love it. I guess you better hold it now,
No,
Tyler
okay.
Christian.
But you know what? We only have time.
Gracie?
You guys want to hold animals?
You want to hold the animals?
Yeah.
Kids want to hold animals?
You do.
If you do, just, you know what? I really don't have a lot of time, but invite me to your birthday party. It'll be your turn to hold them there. Okay, this is the chinchilla. You know what he baths in? Not water, dust. He rolls around in the dust, and the dust dries up all the oils and everything in his fur, which makes it so soft
It's really expensive.
and expensive. Okay, now we're going to look at, what are we going to look at? We're going to look at another mouse, but this mouse has different type of fur altogether. He's a mouse that comes from Africa, and this mouse here is kind of cool. He's called the African spiny mouse, and he doesn't have fur. Well, he has a bit of fur, but he has quills, like a porcupine. That's why I brush him this way. So, but these guys here are kind of, they're interesting little mice. And you know what? These ones only have 1 or 2 babies, well, up to 6 babies. That's a big litter, because the babies are born with their fur and their eyes open. Because in Africa, you gotta be ready. Whereas mice here, when they're born pink and they have no fur and their eyes are closed. Okay, now we have a really cool animal, and here's his picture. He did a telesad. This one did a telesad, and this is a same kind. This is a cousin to the kangaroo. This is an animal that carries its baby in a pouch. It's called the sugar glider, and he did this little ad for Telus.
I remember that. Did you remember that commercial, Shaquille?
Okay,
Remember that commercial on TV?
and here he is. But you got to be very quiet, kids, because this one's nervous, and if he gets too nervous, this is one that can bite me. There it is. Right here. There it is. And that's the sugar glider. It's from Australia, and it acts like a flying squirrel. It glides on the excess skin it has. But you know what? These guys are really funny because they come out at night and they eat fruit, lots of fruit. And you can see it's really, really friendly. And you can tell the boy from the girl easily. Because when the boys get older, you know what they do? They go bald.
Nice. Way to go, Mom. They just lay around.
You got that on camera?
Oh yes.
Okay. Our last animal. You got to come up for this one.
Go on, Kyler. No,
Kyler.
it's Kyler's turn.
This is a nice one.
Go, Kai.
This is called a ferret. And you know what? He likes giving kisses on the nose. Look. See if he kisses your nose. That's your birthday kiss. And this one here is going to an audition because the other ferret we had, we retired him. He's been in Barbie doll commercials. She's also been in Mattel toy commercials on 2 episodes of a TV series and a movie. And she's finally retired, and this one's her understudy. And anyways, this one's taking dance lessons. And
Let's see how the ferret dances.
Hawaiian dance lessons. The hula dance, yeah. So this is called the ferret. Now, Tyler, Tyler, come up, Tyler. Here. We have a couple of things for you to remind you of our visit to your birthday party. And this, the first one we have is a certificate that says Kyler has successfully survived the Cinema Zoo Wild Exotic Animal Birthday Experience 2003. And along with your certificate, you get a pass for your family to come and visit the zoo, and a badge that says Cinema Zoo Animals Care Too. So that's all for you. Okay? That's not part of my job.
You can take those ones home with you if you want. Yeah, down here.
It's on duty, my watch.
Yeah.
Okay, kids, I gotta run. Thanks very much. Have a good birthday party.
Yeah, we are.
Make sure you don't rip it. Make sure your reindeer doesn't rip it.
Wow, magic school bus.
No way.
Somebody missing a card? Anybody missing a little card?
Warm in here. Where? Where?
Who's this from?
Rush Hour Is that a game?
Yeah, it's a game. Thomas has it and he just loves it. It's his favorite game.
Awesome, we love the game.
Let's
We
see.
can play that tonight, eh, Chloe? It's like a sleepover. We can do that. Thank you so much, everybody. That is cool. So what do you say to Emma and David and Thomas?
And Jane? Oh.
No, we're gonna open the presents. This is from Chloe.
Jordan has this game. He loves it. Yeah, Thomas loves it too, man.
Isn't that a great picture?
You can play this.
Okay. You don't have to from these two. Thomas can have these.
Oh, look at this. Oh, Chloe, thank you so much.
I wasn't sure.
What do we have? What's this one? The jacket I wear in the snow. These look so good. And what's this one? The soft and school bus. Almost. Doesn't this look good, you guys?
I'll show you.
I think
it's gonna be like humongous.
Would your sister come?
This is the humongous present I ever seen.
You should wrap up your brother?
Some of you help us.
Want the kids to help? Okay,
Help out, everybody help.
Everybody help.
Oh, don't open the front.
Guys, don't open it.
I'll hold it up and everyone can see who did it. Thank you, Shaquille. This is very cute.
Wow, Kai. Ooh, dinosaurs.
And this is from Alvin. Oh, he drew us a giraffe. Look at that. Snappy little dinosaurs.
to read when we come over for bedtime.
Yes.
I want to show you. Look at it.
Okay, Alvin wants to do. Whoa, it's a pop-up book.
Cool.
Isn't that neat?
Those are my
Thanks,
favorite.
Alvin.
Thanks, Alvin.
That's really nice.
Alvin, you're right. Alvin.
Alvin, Tyler wants you.
Okay, I'm in the way, obviously.
Just get ready, everyone.
Max, I wants his hug. Thomas wants his hug. Okay, guys, next lesson.
Tracy, Tyler gets to
Did you write all that yourself?
I know what it is.
Don't say, Brett.
What is Brett and Kendall? We don't know yet.
I was candy, I guess.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Kyler, here, I'll hold that for you.
Daddy's gonna eat it.
Kai, don't do that.
No, Tyler wants to open this one by himself.
Gracie, look what it is.
Whoa.
Whoa, so excited. Let's get this started.
That's what I have! I have one of those! I don't have one of those, but I have my pirate set! Oh, yeah! You can Tyler, you can stay around! But they have real cannons!
Okay, don't open it.
They have a real cannon, but it's a choose a real cannon. No, it's not a real cannon! But it's made out of
And then that's everybody's presents, right? All the kids' presents.
Except for
after
Gracie.
that. And then we're gonna do cake. No one wants a cake? Oh, that's so nice. Look at it. And we have puzzle. What do we have, Kylie? Puzzle astronaut one. We have the astronaut one. And this is from Hayes. I don't think it's Dumbledore. Oh, yes, Kylie. She's the great one. Okay, wow. What do we say to our friends? Thank you. Okay, everybody. What we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we work for National Geographic and we have to go and we have to find what kind of animal? A zebra?